Sup? How's it going?
Hey Nate.
It's weird because we said hello already, so I ruined the intro, but I didn't want to let people know that we're fucking faking it, you know? Felt
We're
felt
faking it
weird.
until we make it, yeah.
Yeah, fake it
So
till we make it. I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. How have you been first, by
I
the way?
mean that's basically what we do all of our life,
Yeah,
right? We kind of like trying to follow all the rules that's been programmed into us. Like, if you follow these rules, then you will be what? You will be safe, successful, happy. Yeah, maybe sometimes, probably not,
yeah.
right?
It's like you
So
follow the rules and you're a good boy.
yeah.
You get the
And
rewards. If
of
you
course
don't,
we
you know.
the people who love us, they want to feel confident that we will be okay and all of that
Yeah.
stuff, and so they're trying to program us into behaving in the right way, we always do that with our kids anyways.
No, I think it's
Yes.
interesting. I was just thinking about when you were saying that. I think parents do that with their kids. They're not like trying to, it's not from a malicious place or trying
No,
to
of course
change who
not.
they are. It's just you want to make sure they're safe and secure. They have the
There are
safety to
no
grow.
malicious places, yeah.
Yeah, I used to think that my parents had like some kind of like bad intent. And when I kind of got into my 20s, I was like, they're not mean at all. They just care about me a lot and they have a funny way of showing it when they're
They're
upset.
just humans, yeah. Yeah, and
Yeah.
when they triggered, then they do all kinds of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know how a lot of us even make it through this without having some kind of like catastrophic event. Like I
Yeah.
I kind of get through my
Human
days.
resiliency, right, is powerful, because you're right. Those kind of it is surprising that we don't have more of those, even though the current environment, it's a stupid term, but whatever, right? Like there's
Yeah,
so much stuff happening now, right? So that's becoming like all of our buttons are constantly being triggered.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think
There's
that
too
we
much
will.
shit going on. People are freaking out a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's hard to detach because like our security feels threatened in all kind of ways, like societally, politically, economically. There's so much shit happening in the world right now. There's wars. There's all kind of like crazy rhetoric between all these countries. It's fucking completely
Oh
insane.
yeah, we should hate each other, right? Because you are in the US, I'm in
Right.
Canada. Fuck your tariffs, Nate.
Right, like you suck. You're gonna raise this price and that, and we're gonna raise this price. Like it is weird.
It's
Like,
like kindergarten, right?
yeah, I'm not gonna hate you because you're in Canada. Like, it's so
I
silly.
mean, you can also hate me because I'm Russian, right? And Russia is, messing with Ukraine. So many reasons you can find to hate another person.
That's the thing, and Russia has been like the enemy of the U.S. for years, and the USSR and the Cold War. It's like all
Yeah.
this stuff, right? And we forget that it's just like a bunch of people like us trying to figure this shit out.
Yeah, and also a bunch of really shitty people too. Like, the Putin
There
and his
are.
gang are the worst fucking animals. So, yeah.
There are. I actually learned. That's a good opportunity for me to bring up some of the drama that happened this week. Like, it's funny because the person I'm not gonna say their name. I don't want to get sued for like fucking defamation or some weird shit. Not that I would. Not that I have anything they can
Yeah,
take.
they would take all of your assets, man.
They would take my amazing like just my little paintings and stuff. I guess I don't
And your
know.
chair,
My
your
chair, my
t-shirt, yeah.
treadmill. I need that
Yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
like getting chunky after 2 weeks on the road. That was weird. But this person, they kept reminding me that there are a lot of evil people in the world. And I was like, oh yeah, people are good. And they're like, no, they're bad. Some people like doing bad things just for the hell of it, kind of an attitude. And I believe that too. But it was weird how they kept insisting on that. And then, of course, drama happened with that same person. It seemed, of
Yeah,
course, from my
yeah.
point of view, apathetic. But like I was talking about my job to this person, and they're just like, "What do you do?" Because I made these songs about how much my job sucks, and I think it's funny to like poke fun at it creatively. It's like my
Yeah,
muse in a way.
yeah.
Uh, the misery brings me inspiration. So I was showing him those songs, and he's like, "Oh, that sucks. Like, what do you do?" And I told him, and he's like, "What do you make?" And I told him, and he's like, "Well, how would you like an opportunity to do this? Like, paint this robot?" And like insinuating like it would make some money, right?
Hmm.
Obviously, 'cause that's what we were talking about. And he's like, "I'll buy your supplies, and we'll figure out something, with payment and all this stuff." And I kind of get started, and first red flag, we're at Hobby Lobby buying paint, and he's already like weird about spending $60 on the art supplies. So I was like, okay, but you know, I tried not to. I should have right there been like, duh, like get out of this. But I kept going with it, and I start working on this fucking dog, this robot dog, and it starts taking like 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours. We're up to like 10 hours. I'm missing ETH Denver. I'm like missing the conference a couple days.
Yeah.
And the people I'm with were like trying to look out for me, and they're like, "Are you gonna like what are you gonna pay for this thing?" And the guy's kind of like, "What are you talking about?" So it turned into a whole deal, like a week filled with drama related to that. And at the
What's
end,
your what's your takeaway from all of this, right? Because like money
yeah,
is such a big trigger for so many people, right? And so
yeah.
many people struggle with handling that,
Yeah,
whether
it
they
was
have a
really
lot or
strange.
little.
Like I don't make a lot, and I don't have a ton, but I wasn't as it seemed like for this person, it's like so at some moments, and this is how I see in a lot of people. I don't want to target the person in particular. I just see this pattern in a lot of humans. It's like one moment socially, like, oh, money's not a big deal. And then when it comes time to like do something that you contracted or something to pay, like it's the stress moment of paying, and there's all this chaos all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah, and it's a perfect illustration of how little we understand ourselves, right? Because
Yeah,
we can pronounce all kinds of things, money is not a big deal, whatever, right? But
yeah,
the actual situations when we lose money or we have to spend money or whatever, then they can bring up a very different reaction, right? So we
yeah,
really don't understand ourselves. And, even though we always try to usually kind of paint the best story for others. Oh, I'm this, I'm generous, I'm kind, whatever.
yeah.
But
There
let
was a
me
lot
ask
of
you
that.
also, do you have any observations from this about yourself?
Yeah, so I didn't react really good. So I started being a little moody for a few days. I started acting like a little childish, but I wouldn't just kind of come out and be like, "Hey, you should fucking pay me
Yeah,
X
yeah,
amount because I did this." So I was kind of being passive aggressive.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I realized by the end of the trip, um, it could have been solved by me just like just stopping and just being like, "Look, this is what I want to finish the job," and I should just put my
yeah,
foot down. Like I'm not gonna say manned up, but like how people say like man up or whatever. Like I hate that terminology because it's just so
yeah,
much
yeah.
bullshit. Like but I don't know like what else to call it in that moment. Like I should have like been more like assertive or aggressive instead of passive aggressive. If anything, like it's better to be.
And if you forget there, all of this should have,
Yeah,
right? You were not, right?
yeah,
So because there is a lot of, so I'm curious, kind of, what have you noticed about yourself? What's your best guess? Like,
yeah,
so you didn't get angry instead of you being passive aggressive, right?
yeah.
And
And at the
and
end, I
it's
did get angry though. I was starting to
right,
get
right.
angry.
And let me
Yeah,
ask you, right? Because that used to be my case. Is it was very difficult and scary for me to when somebody close to me gets angry at me.
yeah,
And eventually I realized that it's very difficult for me to feel anger in myself. It was very suppressed. Like, like my heart, my chest would be very contracted. I would feel this fire, blah, blah, blah. And so anger would be suppressed. And then I would come out with sarcasm and passive aggression and stuff like that, right?
yeah. That's how I
And
am.
really, it was all about my own ability to feel the anger, right? And when that ability has improved, when anger stopped being such a scary thing for me, then it became much easier. It's like I can be angry at the person in the moment if the moment calls for it, but then it goes away, very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah.
And
I I, I
what's
agree.
is your relationship with anger, Nate?
It's kind of similar. Like I tend to push it away a lot because I feel like I've got a lot in there, and if I let it out, I'm probably gonna push everyone away.
Mm.
I'm just gonna like fuck everything up.
Yeah,
So, and then what's interesting is by not addressing it, I fuck everything up, right? Like
yeah,
not like it's my fault, but like in this situation, like my lack of desire to like or my lack of confidence to just be like, hey, this is what I charge and this is what I
yeah,
expect, led to me being angry, which then was like, I don't want to express this because I'm gonna fuck
Yeah.
up whatever is going on here,
Hmm.
and it just led me deeper and deeper down the hole to where I was like directly butting heads with this person.
Yeah.
And I had to address it and be like, look, usually what I would ask for is this. Since I didn't, and that is my fault ultimately,
Yep.
I would take X. And it was he did the right thing eventually.
Oh, he did. Okay,
He did
good.
eventually.
That's good. That's good
But
to
it was a
hear.
few $100.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So he
And
settled for the
and
lowest end
yeah,
possible of
yeah.
what I.
And why didn't you talk about this upfront? Is it because it's difficult for you to talk about money and stuff?
Yeah, I think like between that and then like something about the breakup wounded my confidence. Like I'm just not as assertive. And then like on top of that, money's always an issue to talk about.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm always struggling. I didn't used to struggle like this, and I think
yeah.
it's embarrassing too, because
Yeah.
it's like asking for the money, even if I've earned it. It's almost like it's like telling people like, "Hey, I need this," and I don't want to
Mhm.
act like I need it from anybody because
Right,
I've always had
right.
the ability to like
Well,
try
it's
to
really hard
help
because we,
myself.
we like, it's hard to be vulnerable, right? We kind of
Yeah,
constantly want to pretend that we are strong, we are powerful, we don't need help. It's
yeah,
really, really, it used to be so hard for me to ask for help.
yeah.
And
Same here.
also admit my own vulnerability, the different ways that I fuck up from time to time.
Yeah, even still, I can't. Like, it's very difficult for whatever
And you
reason. Even when I
mentioned
need it.
breakup, the way it affected your confidence. Like, do you have like a story in your brain running that how you, I
Yeah,
mean, do you blame yourself?
a lot of times I do.
Mm,
I know for a fact that I'm not the easiest person to get along with, and I think I've seen a lot of. I see a lot of people that I know who they're in these like relationships and marriages, and like one person will have like an intense like mental health issue, and the other person is like kind of struggling to like be with them or something, but they love them. So I think it's probably something like that. Where she loves me a lot and still does and did, but it's like I think it's too difficult to be around me constantly. I think I have so many issues of my own that it seems like if anybody's dealing with anything, I just kind of take all the energy from it, and it's just all about me. And I don't know if that's fair to myself, but that's how it seems, at least to me. Uh, so I don't know. It
sorry
was
to
a
hear
long
that, man. It
relationship.
sounds pretty tough, right? And it's like when we're hurting,
Yeah,
typically the brain generates kind of one of two. It kind of tries to find the resolution of the hurt in one
yeah,
of two ways. It either blames this person or blame somebody else. Like, why am I hurting, right? Like, oh, it's because I suck and blah, 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 and I did wrong. Or because they suck, blah, blah, blah.
yeah.
And obviously, there is no resolution in either approach because those are just thoughts, and the hurt is right here, right now. And it was actually interesting. Yesterday, I was at a family gathering. My dad turned 84, and somebody mentioned, this whole thing about blaming themselves, right? And I realized that actually it's been a long time since I had that. Like at some
Yeah.
point, that whole pattern of blaming myself kind of disappeared,
Yeah.
and it's like it doesn't mean that I'm not hurting. Sometimes I do, and as you know, like I went through a really painful breakup
Yeah.
some time ago, and it still hurts from time to time. But there's no story, I think, maybe sometimes very rarely, I cannot recall, but of blaming me. It's more like it's kind of obvious that, like, here's this imperfect human, here's the other imperfect human, and here are all of the interactions and situations, and they naturally all add to this. And and again, like this, the naturalness of the situation is obvious, but it doesn't make the pain go away. I mean, the pain, when it's there, some sadness and some other stuff.
Yeah, and it's super
Yeah.
unpredictable. Like, as you
Mhm.
know, with your breakup, it's like you'll think oh, I'm good. Like, you'll think you're good for like a few weeks, even, or
Yeah,
like
yeah,
a
it
month,
comes
and
in
then
waves,
boom.
right?
Yeah, it hits you hard when it does. It's very
Yeah.
bizarre the way
Hmm.
it's like getting sick, how you never expect to get sick, but you wake up one morning, you're like, fuck, I'm sick.
Yeah.
Which I feel a little sick after Denver, by the way. I think everybody,
Yeah.
they joke about getting sick there every year or something. I feel like crap, but Yeah, it's emotionally breakups are fucking weird. Like I don't know when I try
Well,
like
they can
the
be very,
attachment.
very painful.
Yeah, the attachment that
You
we
you,
get to
you
one.
kind of like it feels like you lose such a big part of yourself.
Yeah, and you got to kind of rebuild whatever part of you. It's like a wall inside of you that crumbles, and you
Yeah,
have to like
exactly.
rebuild
It
it.
is like a wall that kind of tries to not
Yeah.
feel the grief, right? But
Yeah,
I
but I
mean, the
guess
only
if you just let it stay there, like you ever seen a broken structure and it's like beautiful and you actually want to take a photo of
right,
it?
yeah, yeah,
It can
yeah.
become that.
Yeah. I mean, those are all metaphors, right? It's
Yeah.
just this isn't just a natural process of
Yeah.
grieving, right? It's there was this and there's that, and it's a very natural process. It's like it's not, if you will, special to humans. If you have a cow and you take a calf away from it, right? The cow will grieve, and kind of you've seen those, I'm sure.
Yeah,
It's
they'll make
natural.
that. There's like a certain noise that they make too. It's like
Yeah,
very
yeah.
specific.
Or
Yeah, I've seen it.
many other animals like monkeys and whatnot. So yeah, like we grieve. This is a natural process, and then it takes time, and you never know when you're done or whatever that means to be done, right? It's just like,
Yeah.
you only know what you mean in this moment, and
Yeah.
some
And
moments can
it's
be peaceful, and some moments they're like, yeah.
oh yeah. Definitely. And this last week or two has been like filled with both, like up and down. I don't want to make it sound like it was all bad either. Like um I had my first like kind of art show thing. Like I set up all my stuff and I was talking to people. I made some good contacts, I think. So I sold a few things. So it was good.
Yeah,
But I kind of like I always let the bad stuff overshadow everything, and then later on it's like the good. I'm like start remembering all the good things, you know. I don't know if that's normal.
I mean, in general, human beings, they always over bias toward, the fears, right, and the bad things, because kind of the mandate of living organism is to stay alive, right, to survive, right, and this means that everything that is potentially dangerous, we will always kind of err on the side of this thing is bad and dangerous, and so on, and maybe 9 times out of 10 it's really not, but their body will keep guessing that it is scary and dangerous and bad, and like when we're in that
Yeah,
space, it kind of feels like, oh, it's always been this way and it's
yeah,
going to be this way forever.
yeah. The truth is, I know that like a lot of like good things are happening and whatnot.
Yeah,
That like I have the good story too, the
yeah.
optimistic story, the happy ending story going on at the same time.
Hmm.
So yeah, but it felt good to get out in the world and try to fucking do something different than
Nice.
sit in this place. Nothing wrong with this place. Just
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I've been isolating myself forever. I've been kind of like afraid to try to be like successful. Like, and when I say that, I mean like the feeling of like maybe earning a living doing something I don't hate for a while.
Hmm.
And that felt good to know that it's possible.
Yeah.
Because I had a lot of people close to me like totally telling me it's not. Um, so, and that sucks.
People have the right to their opinions, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
people are full of opinions.
And I ask a lot too. I'm like, just
Yeah.
tell me, and I hear the truth. I'm like, fuck, that's not what I wanted to hear. But because I'm super curious, I want to know everything. So yeah, it's I invite a lot of it to myself. So yeah, but other than that, at least I didn't get fully ripped off by the robot guy. Um, I think he might be something might be up there. I got to be careful what I say. But there's a lot of crazy shit happening, man. That's all I gotta say. Um, it was good though. When's the last time you were at East Denver?
2 years ago, I think, yeah.
Yeah. What was your take of it then? Because I don't have any point of reference. I mean, I have no.
You know, I love Denver. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful city. The event is beautiful, really well organized. It was a lot of fun. I love the merch, all
Yeah.
their swag and all whatnot. And it also it's become so big. It's a bit overwhelming. There's so much stuff going on.
Yeah,
So
it was too
yeah,
much.
beautiful event, but yeah, I guess like every event, you have your filter, and then you experience some bits and pieces, and then you say, "Oh, this is how it is," right? The whole event was great, or it sucked, or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I thought like the merch was good. I've got this little badge thing right here.
nice.
Um, I thought the merch was cool. I thought like I don't know, it was cool to meet a bunch of people that are like developing stuff and like
Yeah,
just like all the ideas and you see people's wheels turning and you're talking to all these like beautiful but crazy people and it's just so cool. Like I love that interaction.
yeah, totally. Connecting with other humans who are somewhat aligned with you. That's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, like they're a little like I don't know, because I'm like there's that old movie, the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer movie, and they have this thing. It's like the island of misfit toys.
Hmm.
I feel like that's kind of what like crypto and blockchain used to be more, is like this kind of like group of like people that were trying to do something different. And it's
Mm.
cool. Like I saw that. I hadn't seen that in a few years since I'd been to a conference. So it was cool to see that part still alive. Like
Right.
the culture aspect, people like excited about doing some weird shit.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Um, I guess that's pretty much it. Like anything else that's been going on with you that you want to talk about? This has
I
actually been
think we
kind of
had
a
a
cool
good
episode.
discussion.
Yeah.
I'm flying to Japan tomorrow, so
What is that about? What are you doing
uh,
there?
you know, going with my kids for the March break,
That's cool.
just to kind of help them experience a bit of the world.
You've been there a few times, or is this like
I've been in Japan a couple of times, so yeah, this is just a quick trip
that's
for
what's
one
up?
week.
I'd want to go if I wasn't afraid to fly. Maybe I'll get
Yeah,
over that someday,
yeah,
but I have no
yeah.
idea. But yeah, I hope that it goes good. Tell me about the food, especially because I love that.
We'll do
Um,
it. Yeah.
I love sushi. So, but all right, I'm gonna end this. Thanks for talking to me, and I
Sounds
love
good. Good
you.
to see you, Nate.
All
Thanks
right,
for all
man.
the sharing.
All right, man. Talk to you soon. Bye.